Hello and welcome to this week's episode of CBTV. I'm saying loud and clear that this sort of reckless spending must stop. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that these words came from the mouth of a Liberal Party or a Conservative politician. But in fact, these words were uttered by Kevin Rudd just before the 2007 election, when the coalition government were running large budget surpluses after paying off Labor's legacy of debt. How many people at the time would have thought Labor were turning over a new leaf of fiscal conservatism, only to be left disappointed at their actions of the following years? After all, Kevin Rudd was in charge when his government sent $900 cheques to dead people and to those living overseas. And despite the hype of Kevin 07, it's been the same old Labor Party spending money they don't have ever since. Billions of dollars that could have been spent wisely on any number of projects have been instead wasted on policy failures like the pink bats fiasco, the ever-growing blowouts in detention centre costs, and the building the education revolution that in so many instances did not deliver value for money. When Labor took office in 2007, the Howard government had left them with a surplus of about $20 billion. Now, just over 5 years later, we're facing a deficit of over $43 billion. And according to a report today in the Australian newspaper, more than half of the country's voters prefer to see surpluses on average throughout the economic cycle. But Labor continues to ignore not only the promises made by its own politicians, but the will of the Australian people. A strong economy is key to a successful and productive society. And the best way to achieve that is through prudent fiscal management, by reducing government debt, by ending the waste, and ensuring better value for taxpayers' money. If the last 5 years are anything to go by, I'd say this government is nowhere near capable of achieving that. Thankfully, this year, the Australian people will have a chance to vote for change, and that gives us all hope for a brighter future for us all. This is Cory Bernardi. You're watching CBTV.